Awesome. So welcome to another session, an Atlassian community event on getting started with Confluence. So today it's going to say a foundational kind of a session. We are going to understand from the end to end how you can use Confluence to power up productivity in your workplace and as well as your personal life. Sometimes our lives can get cluttered in one or another. So you can be able to see how you can use this particular product from Atlassian called Confluence. So right now we are really using Confluence Cloud, which is the online version of Confluence. We're going to see how this tool can really help us in terms of productivity. So just to make a start, just have this up. So maybe I'll ask, and since this is a discussion and you're here, and maybe Suraj you have, and maybe even Nehemiah you also have, you can tell me maybe some of the challenges, some of the biggest challenges with work. When I talk about the challenges, I'm thinking about maybe when you're working as a team, or maybe when you're dealing with clients. Maybe you can, if you want, you can unmute, or if you want, you can put it in the chat, but it would be great if you can unmute and share some of the challenges. I can maybe start it off for myself. Maybe, for example, some of the biggest challenges that I have is keeping up with emails. For example, you start a conversation, you're getting a customer to become a lead, and maybe somewhere, somehow that email gets lost amongst a sea or a forest of other emails. So it becomes maybe a lost lead just because of the clutter around sometimes the emails that we have. So maybe anyone else can come through and share maybe the experiences with challenges, especially at work or even in the personal life. Anyone want to share? Nehemiah, thank you. I can see you're unmuted.
I think the biggest challenge is having a very synchronized environment whereby all people are in the loop. They know what's going on. The information is real time. So if it's conversion of leads, people know like where it started, where they are, and how they are gonna end. So I think it's that synchronization which matters a lot, and I think Confluence can address that so that it can keep people informed, and they can make informed decisions at the right time. I think that is it. The biggest
Thank you.
challenge.
Thanks so much, Nehemiah. I totally agree with you. Sometimes you ask someone, I sent you these for you to work on. Then it says, when did you send it? The moment they ask you that question, you were very sure that they didn't even look at it. And maybe it is required at that point in time. So Raj, you have something. I'm sure you have a lot to share, but you can please share.
Yes. If you see the challenge, then in day-to-day activity, currently we are working on the Confluence space migration from one instance to another instance because basically we are on a server, not on a cloud. So
yeah, sure.
Sometimes we get issues, a lot of issues in a Confluence pages. Maybe on some pages the integration is there, the GitHub integration or the Jira integration will be there. So interconnection. So maybe a lot of challenges over there.
Awesome. Yeah, very true. Because I believe because Confluence started out as server before it got to cloud, and right now I don't know that is it also applying that there's a 6-month countdown to the end of server support and maybe server sales. I saw that. So it means that every organization is trying to get onto the cloud and avoid all these kind of issues. And sometimes an organization may be having thousands and thousands of pages and spaces to that connects these, and you want that kind of a seamless move from server to cloud. And sometimes it's not always as easy, and maybe support might not be instantaneous in terms of what Atlassian support can do. So sometimes we now lean on to the community to help us understand where would we have gone wrong? Maybe what do you need to do as a prerequisite before you start a migration? Do you need to set up the integration first at the cloud before you migrate, and all these kind of things? And sometimes I usually see that there's a lot of power, especially in the community, because I usually see a lot of things that people can say they've done, and the use cases, and maybe their learnings, especially when it comes to migration. Because over the last 1 or 2 years, the whole Atlassian ecosystem has been all about migration, maybe from Jira Server to Jira Cloud, Confluence Server to Confluence Cloud. And I agree with you. I agree that this is also quite a challenge, especially for different organizations that started using Atlassian products quite a while back, and they're not starting out on cloud. They have to get whatever they have on server onto the cloud. So maybe at the end, Suraj, will tell us some of the things that people can do, because I also met a friend of mine and a fellow community leader who says they're doing a lot of migration projects, one after the other. So I'm sure now that the 6-month countdown is here, most people can get into consultancy of helping different organizations migrate to cloud. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. So again, let's get onto this. So by now, I believe right now, Nehemiah, you said you've already done a bit of research on what Confluence is all about online. Suraj, you do it, you use it in your organization from a day-to-day basis. But it's important to understand. Sometimes we get so lost in the complexities of things, and we forget that sometimes it's also the fundamentals that matter. So we already know that Confluence helps teams organize, create, and discuss their different kinds of work. One of the best use cases that I've seen on Confluence is creating a knowledge base, so that a team that maybe is transitioning or they're doing a certain project, all their learnings of that project can be documented somewhere, and the next team engaging in a similar kind of a project can lean on what the previous team that did a similar project documented on Confluence. Also, I have now also seen that it is also a very good place to maybe a lot of templates, which you're going to see. You can start it out. You don't have to start from a blank page. You can have meeting notes there. You can have documentation. You can even set up a whole new course, or maybe even like an internal kind of an onboarding for employees. They need to know this. They need to know this about HR. They need to know this about their department, or they need to know this about the company values. So I see Confluence use cases. And the good thing is there's a lot of integration, as Raj has already said. You can integrate it with GitHub. You can integrate it with Jira. You can integrate even with Trello and even Slack. There is a lot of different, and with the Atlassian marketplace. There are a lot of Atlassian solution providers who are also working tirelessly to create integrations to help us use these Atlassian tools in a more productive and in a more efficient way, and extending the functionality of these products. So we're still going to start it off. We are going to click on the link. That is the link, and this is usually the page that you get. Remember that somebody will be asking Confluence. What does Confluence really mean as a definition? So I decided, okay, let me just go back and search what is the definition of Confluence, apart from Atlassian decided to use that name for this product. So I realized that Confluence is all about coming together, flowing together, moving together, and gathering at one point. And that is what Nehemiah was actually saying as a challenge. Sometimes getting the team on one sync or in one language or at one page. It's kind of ironical to talk about page, and Confluence has pages within spaces. But just as we always say, to get onto one page is usually a very difficult kind of a thing. you get into a meeting, maybe you used a different solution for your meeting, and then you get maybe the resolutions were sent via email, and maybe then you also need to work something on a different application. So all these context switching between different applications that may not be necessarily integrated with one another creates a lot of friction within teams, and sometimes work gets lost somewhere, or something is not done, a task is not done by someone at some point. So we started out with spaces, and you're going to see how spaces really work on Confluence. But when looking at spaces, they answer this question about where do I put my stuff? Where do I put everything? You can think of it like a basket, or maybe your backpack, because your backpack may contain your laptop, your notes, your notebook, your pen, your charger, and many other things, your cabling or whatever you're using for that particular kind of work in one setting. Can you imagine if you really have to carry them without a backpack? One thing or the other might get lost along the way. You might drop your pen along the way, or something that you really needed for the meeting and you didn't carry it along, or maybe it got lost in your car or something. So remember that spaces really help you organize the pages. Think of it like you can have a space for different departments. It depends on your organization. Maybe Suraj, you can share, because you already have your Confluence already set up, kind of a server. Maybe you can share with us, and maybe let me talk about pages, then you can share with us how you've set it up in terms of your organization, and how you've learned along the way to use Confluence at scale. So remember that spaces are made up of pages. What that means is, when you bring pages together, and you put them in one place, you have what we call spaces. So pages can be the documents, as you can see here. They can be an embedding of videos. It can be even meeting notes. It can be maybe, let's say, for example, if it's support in this case, you'll be having, let me just have my laser pointer here. So if it's support here, you may be having different kinds of documentation to help a customer. So you might be having something like how does a customer onboard, or maybe you might be having how do you reach out to, how does a customer get to a point where they are becoming a partner, or they can sponsor our partner in terms of an event. So it can be different kinds of documentation for support. But if it's a project may be having different things. It may be having a track, or for example, an effort estimation, how the tasks that have been assigned to different members. You can be having some you can say resource pages, for example, data sheets, Excel sheets, or think of it, different kinds of documentation that are needed to initiate the project, to get out how the project will go on up to the point where you're going to be closing out the project after you've given the deliverables to the customer. Then finance, same case, different kinds of pages for different kinds of understanding in terms of, for example, finance might be having all the things that they need to do each and every month as like, let's say, as a task sheet. Think of it like the way the pilots, before they take off and even before they land, is a set of procedures. Think of it like a playbook that they have to follow each and every time when they are taking off and landing. So same case, a different team or a department may be having a playbook that they want documented, so that everyone knows, if you want to do these things, you can reference this Confluence page, and then you're good to go, so that you ensure that every step of the process is followed up. So I think that one is now where I invite Suraj to tell us how you set up Confluence at scale in your organization, or maybe some of the best practices that you've learned in terms of setting up, because you're going to do a very mini kind of a demo. But it would be great to hear from you on how you've set up Confluence.
Yeah, hi Kevin. The information that you have shared, it's absolutely correct. And yeah, so as I have said, our Confluence service is on our on-premise server. Okay, so it is totally the service is installed by us only. Okay, so on the server we are using, and basically as per the user's requirement, we are creating a spaces for the customers. So in that, once we get a request from a users to create a space for the particular project, then we are creating a groups for a user, because for a particular space there might be a number of people that going to be using the space. So based on the groups we are providing access to them. And yeah, means as you know, for this particular space we have some permissions to provide the uh, to give the access to the particular user. So global permissions and the projects permissions, we are basically dealing with that. And yes, means we are dealing in day-to-day activities, we are just doing this part on the Confluence. And apart from this, as I have mentioned, the space migration will be there. So yeah, that is the thing.
Thank you, Suraj. You mentioned something very important about permissions, and different departments, as you're working in a Confluence site, usually call it a Confluence site, is may require different levels of permissions. And as somebody who is maybe a champion of Confluence in your organization, you may be also doubling up as the Confluence administrator. So you need to understand how you can assign permissions, or you can even deny some certain permissions, because maybe certain pages should be read only, they should be view
Yes.
only. Other pages, yes, Suraj, yes. Maybe you can share. You want to share something?
Yeah, basically for a particular space, we are assigned four types of groups. Maybe first one is the administrator who is having all the access. Maybe the particular user can those the person who is having administrator access can do all the changes in the particular pages or the space. Maybe comment can be added, pages can be removed, or it can be updated. And the second one is that the developers permission. And third one is the reader permission, only the person can read. And the last one is the configuration manager permission. So we have these four permissions. Among these we are distributing the users.
Awesome. And if I may ask, are these permissions something that you customized such that it's really unique to your organization's needs? For example, like a developer permission, or are these permissions the ones that are provided out of the box by Confluence?
Sorry again.
Suraj, I don't know. Okay, did I break at some point?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you please repeat your question?
Okay, I was asking, for example, you've mentioned a different number of permissions, for example, configuration manager, developer, administrator. I know administrator, the global one, can come out of the box, but are these permissions something that you've configured that is unique to your organization, or are they the ones that come out of the box from Confluence?
First, whenever we get a request for the particular space, then we are creating the groups based on the based on the space name. So once the groups has been created, so for the particular space, suppose XYZ is a user who wants the only read permission, then we have the four permissions groups. So based on the suppose wants to give the read permission, then we are assigning the group who can only read the space pages. So based on the groups, we are dealing with the Confluence space.
Awesome. You've mentioned something very important. Sometimes when you create groups, it makes work easier because you already have prepared the permissions as per that group. So you just, when somebody, when an employee or someone asks for access to a certain space, and it is already, just add them to that group, which makes it very easy.
Yeah, and one more thing is that if you have a groups, then we will come to know how many users are there, who is having the particular access. So based on the group, we can also means manage our space or efficiently, or we will get a more idea. So I think the space for the means groups are the very important.
Yeah, thank you. Now that takes us to a demo. We're going to do a very simple kind of a demo. So the demo will, just to give you a picture, it will help you understand the whole process of setting up a Confluence site. You can, the easier way if you don't have one for your organization is you can start with a personal site. And a personal site can help you understand the ins and outs. And you can even bring some friends in to collaborate or to have access to a certain space. So we're going to see how you can do it at that kind of a level. And then from there on, I'll give you and some knowledge about resources, for example, from Atlassian University, and also the Confluence page and even the community. We have a whole vibrant community called the Atlassian community, where you can just, if there are a lot of tags around Confluence, you can see what people are doing, if it is migrations, if it is best practices on pages. There are different kinds of challenges, even sometimes, that come on the community that help people to share their knowledge on what they're doing in different kinds of products, not just Confluence. So I'll stop my share. But before we even do that, before you go to the demo, is there anyone who has a question? Thank you so much, Dennis and Salome, for coming through. Is there anyone who has a question so far? So maybe just to recap, we just said Confluence is an online application that helps teams just to organize and to create solutions and even discuss their different work in one setting. You say the biggest power or the biggest advantage of Confluence is it also allows integrations, it reduces on context switching, and you can work as an organization in a seamless kind of a way. You can assign different permissions to different users, you manage your knowledge as an organization. So you can do a lot with Confluence. Then we talked about the key components around Confluence, which is the spaces and the pages. We also, in our discussion, now we got to understand the things such as permissions and integrations. So, but those are, I can say that there are things you can say you need to really know about as you're getting started. As you're getting started, you need to know how to manage spaces. You need to know how to manage pages. You might be in an organization where you're not the administrator, you're not the Confluence administrator, you're not the Atlassian administrator. So you might not be having the power to manage permissions, or maybe even create spaces or even pages. You might be just knowing how to request for access to a certain space or a certain page. But as you move on, you might get more roles or get promoted, and you need to now be the one maybe updating certain pages or keeping information within the space, within the Confluence fresh and current. So as you move on, it's very important for you to know these and even try out things in your personal Confluence site. Again, Atlassian has introduced a new feature. I'm going to see whether we can be able to look it up, which is called Confluence Whiteboards. The whiteboard helps you in maybe diagramming, brainstorming, collaborating as a team, and you're going to see how that can come through. So let's get to the demo. So when you open Confluence, share the link. Also have these available on the event page. So no worries. So that's the link. When you open it, you get to this page. I hope it's large enough and visible enough. Hopefully you can see that. So yeah, hope it's clear for everyone. So when you look at this, you have different places you can start with free, but when you scroll down a bit, so you get to understand, you can accomplish more together, you can have a place to share knowledge and collaboration. So remember that these are the three I can say selling propositions for Confluence is knowledge management, collaboration on projects, and also company-wide collaboration. So these are the three kind of unique selling propositions for Confluence. And you're going to see how you can do that. So you can, for example, if you're centralizing information, you can know what different strategies have worked. If you're dealing with plans and decisions, you already know people are in the project management space. It's very important for communication. Communication is very important to ensure the success of a project. Then you can collaborate and you can connect together. There is a lot. For example, you can invite members, you can tag members, you can comment, you can request. You can request a lot. You can request some edits. So it's a lot of things, and you can even integrate it with maybe Trello. Trello helps you in terms of managing your activities. Although today we're not going to be really into Trello, but you've got to still organize a session on that. So basically, also another thing that is important is remember that Confluence has templates, and templates are basically a point of beginning. You don't have to start from a blank page. So there are some feature templates, some project planning templates, some software development or IT, product management templates, and marketing and sales templates. So for example, Atlassian has set up maybe a project plan. So you can use this template to define the scope and plan milestones for your next project. You can have something for brainstorming, especially in gathering information or gathering ideas before you start innovating on your different softwares. And then you can also help it in documentation. So all these there are lots and lots of templates. And remember, as Suraj had already mentioned, integrations play a very big role in extending the capabilities of Confluence. So you can integrate Confluence with Slack, with Trello, with Jira. Trello and Jira are still also Atlassian products. You can also integrate it with Teams if your organization uses Microsoft Teams. Still also with Figma, Dropbox for getting your files and documentation from Dropbox or Google Drive or even Box, and many other Confluence integrations. So these are just the highlights, but there are over 3,000. And as you can see, 96% of customers, including Suraj, they believe that integration makes it superior. And you can see it has been used by different organizations, notably NASA, Docker, LinkedIn, many others. So you can look at different demos, you can look at the use cases, and also you can get the best practices right from this one page. So remember that I'll still share these, but the most important, as you can see there here, is the Atlassian community, as well as Atlassian University. Atlassian University has a free course, fundamentals, Confluence fundamentals, if I'm not wrong, and you can see. So in looking at pricing, as you can see, if you're using it, for example, setting up a personal site, or maybe an organization like Nemai said, you're a startup, if you're up to 10 users, you can use it for free, not for just a month or two, but forever. But anything going beyond that, you might need to get to a standard or even the premium, which is usually priced as such, as $5, around $5 to $6 per user per month for up to 100 users. You get a free trial for 7 days. Same case for premium. Then you remember that you can also get a very a good discount if your number of users increase to above 100 users. And again, that's very important to mention that Confluence is available on mobile. So I love the mobile version of things because it helps me keep me on the loop. You can work on the go. You can see what work done in your team or not. So remember that also Confluence is also available, not just on the web, but also on Confluence. So what else do we do instead of just getting started? So let me just show you how you can get started. I'll see whether I can create a new one instead of using one that I already have so that you can see. So you just click on get started. You can choose continue with Google and just integrate and use your Google, or you can sign up with an email. So if you choose continue with Google, so for example, if this is now for a personal site, but if you're an organization, it would be great to talk to Atlassian and see what you can do in terms of setting up the site, because everything needs to go through kind of a standardized process. So you'll choose your email. I'll try to see if I have an email that doesn't have Confluence set up. Let me try to remember. Let's see. Let's see. I remember this. So let me just try to see if I can use the one that I already have an account with. I still can't remember. I can't remember one that doesn't have one for now. So let me just do my passkey. So can see. So I'm sure it's not going to take me through an onboarding process, but just remember that Atlassian gives you a very robust kind of, I can say, onboarding process. So for example, you can see it's telling me welcome back. How do I need to create a new site? So if I want to create a new site, I can call it maybe, but it has to be unique. So for example, if I just say Confluence, it might not work. You can see there's somebody already created a site called confluence.atlassian.net. So it has to be globally unique. And for example, you can say Meru Confluence demo, maybe something like that. So you can see it is unique. Get a tick. I agree on to that. Remember, you agree to the terms and the privacy policy in terms of your data. So you can see it is going to go through a whole process of setting up my site. Remember my site, and also remember something, that if you're having a personal site, you have to keep it active. Otherwise, Atlassian it will still send you a notification, but they can maybe tell you that they're going to terminate the site, just to ensure that the resources are well utilized. So as that sets up, I don't know if there's anyone who has a question so far. So this is the process. Remember, just as a disclaimer, this is the process of setting up a personal site. You can set up a personal site or an organizational site. So it might be a bit different. Maybe Suraj can tell us. But I think now you're doing a use server, so everything has been internal. So that may be a different kind of a use case. Maybe what about when you are setting up the Confluence cloud, hopefully that you've already set it up, was the onboarding process different from the one for a personal site?
Yeah, surely it will be a different, but currently we do not have any idea regarding that. But surely it will be a different.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. That's perfect. So so let's get on with this. So right now we get to this page. Remember, I told you that Atlassian tries to make sure that your process is as frictionless as possible. So there is this three-step process that helps Atlassian understand why am I joining Confluence. So maybe I can say I want to create a knowledge base, which will look a bit different. I would say I want to collaborate, or maybe I just want to trying it out and want to explore how it fits in our team. So maybe I can say I want to try it out, and I'll click on next. So it will ask me what best describes the work that my team does. So maybe if I can say if it is project management, there's a lot here, but I can maybe try project management, and then I can go to next. Then I can invite my teammates. So I can send you this link for anyone who wants to join in. Even if you're joining on mobile, you can join in on this, and you can see how we can collaborate in real time. So I can give this link. So remember that you should be very careful with this link, because people can get access to your site without any kind of approval. The link is usually valid for 30 days. You can also invite someone via their email, or you can even use Google and Connect, or even Slack, or even a Microsoft account. So it tries to make things easy for you. So I'll get to my space. So this is how the whole kind of setup looks like. Let me just zoom in a bit. So I'll zoom in on one part first. Yeah. So first of all, I've zoomed in on the navigation. So you can see on this navigation area, you have the Confluence logo, which takes you just back to this homepage. You have this place that makes switching between different applications. For example, if I wanted to set a Jira software or JSM, or Jira product discovery, or even Slack or Bitbucket for repos or Git, I can easily switch to those products from these nine dot, or I can say 9 squares. Then you have the home. In the home, we're going to still look at how this whole page looks like. And then we have the recent, which will helps you just to easily access what you've been working on, things that you've created, things that you've maybe start pages and spaces that you've started, and anything that is under your draft that you haven't created. So since you haven't done anything yet on this page, it is new on this site, Confluence site. So you might see that you can see the only thing I get here is getting started in Confluence. So that is today. So that I think this is if I'm not wrong, it's kind of a page. So remember, I chose a project management. Then you have the spaces where pages live. So you can see I have the space, some spaces that were also created when I chose project management space, a knowledge base, and my personal kind of a space. So if you decide, you can choose to create a new space here, or you can check on all the spaces that you have, and you can see all the spaces that were pre-created or starred. So you can star or unstar. So if I unstar, it will not appear here. But if I star it again, it will also appear. So you can go again to view all spaces. And then if I see that which are the ones that I unstarred, I think I unstarred the one on knowledge base. So if I can choose, I can just again go back and start the space here. So then again, we have teams. This is where people collaborate. So I can invite my team members here. Remember, it's just the same way. If you're already having a Google organizational account or a Google workspace, you can just click on Google and bring all your team members in. If you know all their emails or you have them, you can just put them there. Yeah, so that is how you add your team members onto the site. Then you have apps. So for example, as you can see, if you are an administrator, you can install an app to a site. For as an integration, you can install Slack, Google Drive, Lucid Chat, and different kinds of apps. And you can, as an administrator, you can see some requests for apps from users or from other team members. Then again, as we said earlier, we have templates, which are starting points. There are different kinds of templates that are here. So you can see if you are having a one-on-one meeting, you can choose that one, and retrospective, a 5-way analysis, a 90-day plan, all hands meetings, so many different kinds of templates here by different, a how-to article, for example, a hiring process. And you can see they've been developed by different kinds of organizations. For example, Indeed is the one that has created this template. We saw another one by Atlassian, another one by Trello. If it's marketing, an elevator pitch template, all these kind of templates help you. For example, even if I want to create an AWS architecture diagram or an annual plan, so many kind of, so there are featured ones. There are even the popular ones under this tab, so you can see. So for example, we are dealing with project management. I can decide I want to use the project plan. So I can choose project plan here. And even before I can see nothing to see, there's no preview available because it's tailored to details that I provide. So I might not be able to see, but other templates might be having a preview. So if I decide to use a blog post, let's see whether we have one that has a preview. Let's see if it's a retro. Yeah, you can see like this one as a retrospective. So a retrospective, as you already know, it's a way of trying to reflect on what happened in the past and to identify where you can improve. So you can see, I can easily see, even before I start using the template, I can see I have a date for when the retro was happening, the team that was, for example, let's say it was the marketing team or the sales team, the different team members can be tagged or mentioned there. And then we now start on a retro will only be having 3 columns. What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? What should we keep doing? So it can be like a stand up and maybe now get to some action items. So it makes it easy to easily understand and work in a team. So let's see, we are looking at the project plan. Where was it? Here it is. So I'll use it. So I don't know if there's anyone who has decided to join me on the conference so that can see the link that I shared. We share it again. Anyone? So please, you can join in just to show us. So I can give this and I can say, I can call it maybe the channel Meru Conf AI chatbot project. AI chatbot project. Maybe just something very simple. So maybe I'm trying to create a chatbot, which is going to use the data within the organization and to help users understand. So if I can decide to do that, and you can see, I don't know that I'm still having, yes. So you can see you also get this area where you have, I can see some basics you can learn. So you're already done with the templates, you're already done. You can use some / commands, tables, how do you create tables, images, how do you integrate images and align them, and different kinds of layouts. So it can help you. Really a very good place to start if you're starting out. So for example, as you see this table, I can decide, okay, I want to mention myself as the driver of this project. I can say the approver. I can say approver, although I don't have others who have joined us. So I can say maybe before I can say Suraj is the approver, and the contributors are maybe Nehemiah, but you can tag them. You can tag them once they join, so that it makes it easier. So I can say the contributors are Nehemiah, Dennis, and maybe Salome. Okay, can you add Salome and Tochi as the stakeholders? What have I done? The good thing is you can always undo. So I think I selected all and started typing. So the good thing is you have these undo the way you do with other maybe Office applications or something. So I can put maybe Salome and Tochi there. So I can decide to summarize the objective. I can say to develop an internal chatbot to ease internal support across the organization. So you can see it makes my work very easy. I don't have to think too much in terms of, and I can still extend the template. So I can say I can type / to add the date, and then I can say I want to do a date. I can say it's starting on Monday. That's the due date. So that's not the start date. So even if I want a start date, I can just say I can insert a row. So how do you insert a row? You just take your cursor and you can see that. And then I can say now this is the due date. The due date comes down here and the start date. So you can easily do a lot, and you can't, some things are really intuitive. So once you start doing it, you get the hang of it. For example, the double slash helps you do the date. I can say it's going to end at the 31st of October. So what are the outcomes or some of the metrics? You can say status, it is not started. So I can tag it as that. Then you can still go on as a team, prepare so much, do the timeline, the milestones are the deadlines, and any reference materials that you want. And then once I feel I'm content with what we've done, you can remember right now it is still a draft. So if I decide to just close it without publishing it, I'll find it if I go to recent and I go to maybe drafts. Can see view all drafts. I see it here. Let's see, I think my network is acting up. Also, okay, yeah. So you can see under my drafts. So you can see under recent, and I go to drafts. I think it's not showing up here, but you can see under drafts, I'm already seeing the document that, and it's also telling me when I edited it. Okay, yeah, Toche, let me just reshare the link, sorry. So let me just share with you the link. Please do, and so that I can tag you on. So if once you join in, you can tell me, so that we start on a collaboration. So that I've already covered on how you, and I can decide I can organize these into a space. So you can see it is under my personal space. I can decide I want to go to the project management space. So if I open it, I usually prefer the pane. So the side pane. So you can see you can schedule a publish that it is going to happen. You can publish as a blog. These are other options. You can even make it a template if you want. If you can extend a template and make it. If there are any comments, so I can invite someone to edit. For example, now I can invite Tochi. I can see you're here. Thank you. And then maybe I can say, I can add a simple, let me just add a simple message like welcome. And then I don't know that Tochi, you can open this exact page and start doing something on it so that you can see whether that happens. For example, maybe I can now change here and say you are part of maybe the contributors. Just put Dennis here. Then I can tag you here as a contributor. So maybe one thing maybe you can do, you can try to write one outcome. Maybe, for example, I developed an app that can, any kind of an outcome or a success metric, a developed app or a published app published on Google Play Store. If I can say that can be a success metric. So I'll be checking. Yes, Tochi is asking which, you can still also unmute, don't worry, you don't have to do it on the chat. So which space should I use? The project management? No, you can use I don't know whether the personal space, but I've already, let's see whether I can also, you have access, since I've invited you to the site, you should be able to see those spaces. And also at any point in time, if you want something to add on something, we are in a discussion, you can also add. So this is my space. So let's see if we can, you can go to the project management space. So you can see this is the space, and you can see it came with some bit of a template. So you can add a team. So you can, for example, I can decide to edit this page, this home page, and put all the things that you want to do as a team. What is our mission? What do you want to do? You can do a lot. As I already mentioned earlier, I can add myself here. Even to A, can say I'm the lead, and then I can mention myself. I can add Tochi. Just simple. Sorry. What did I do? Okay. I just put one name, then I can put maybe team assistant, just a simple kind of a thing. Then I can just publish that page. And all those changes, as you can do more changes, it will appear on that. As again, you can see I love this pane because it helps me get a bird's eye view of all the pages that are there in a space. So, and you can still organize pages as part of others. So for example, if I just want to quickly create a page, I can just do that. And then I can say test page, and just do test page or something. And you can see the templates appear here. So for example, I can even just decide I want to do the 90-day plan. Then I can just have it appear immediately. So you can see all these appear here, and you can extend it. Then I can call it maybe 90-day plan. I can say this one is for Tochi. And then I can say hi. Then I can just remove that. Then I can put Tochi there. Then I can just put some things and already just do something. Just because of time, I'll leave it at that. Let me see if there's anything. You only saw, oh, you selected, okay. Can you see this space? Can you try to create a page? You can try to create a page on this space, and so that you can see. And then I can put everything under, so you can see you can do a tree. I can decide I can sort it A to Z. So you can see there are so many ways you can arrange. You can look at it under the last updated. So you can see the last one that I updated. So sometimes you might be having thousands and thousands of pages when you're dealing with Confluence at scale. So it's very important for you to understand it, how you can organize. You can even organize this under some a page under another, like that in a tree, so that anything that is under, so you can see the 90-day plan is now within as part of this template of status report, just as an example. So you can see these are template for the status report that I can change, and I can do a lot of things on it. So Tochi, have you been able to create a page? I wanted to see whether you can create a page. As you do that, I want to share something that Suraj had mentioned. I go to the settings. As an admin, you'll get more ability as someone is configuring. So you can see there's a lot you can do. You can decide how large an attachment should be. Some of the things that are here. But my main important thing that I wanted to look at is for you is security. Because as you're dealing with different users in an organization, you need to give them the proper privileges, and we still work with the principle of least privilege. So what that means is you only give the user as much permission that they need, not too much that they might make a mistake on them or something. So you can see you can do groups. So that's a good starting point. So if you want all administrators to be in a certain particular group, oh, you've created a page. Okay, we're going to see that page, Tochi. So I hope you can also be checking on any other features that are there. And I can also do that there. So let's see. So I can manage users in the directory. So you can see I've gone to another page. So this just give me a tour. So this is Atlassian administration, and you can see I'm having a group that has been pre-created: Confluence admins, Confluence guests, Confluence user access admins, users, and then organization admins, who I think it must be only me. So if you look at these show details, so you can see I'm the only one who has the org admin kind of, and I can decide to add another member to this group, but this is really, I think, the one that has administrator level, organization level settings, and also being able to view any kind of billing. So if I want to add somebody as a guest, I can go to this group. The good thing is it helps you, and you can still create a group that you feel has the exact kind of permissions that you want. So for example, I can say we have a new project, the AI chatbot project, and I only want them to have access to that particular page or something. So you can see, thank you, I can see Sony, welcome. I can decide I can add all of us here, the three of us. Then I say group of the AI, internal AI chatbot. Internal AI. So what happens is with this group, I can decide if the whole team needs something, I don't have to do it for each and every one person. I just do the changes on this group. Chatbot project. And then just create that. So once I've created that group and added people there, and Suraj, maybe you can chime in on at any point in time if you want to add something. So I have the group, so you can see it is here, and the invite comes into play. So these are the users. These are all the users who are here, the three of us. I can add team members there also. And then I can go to security. So maybe I want Tochi to have access to something, to a certain space, and I want Sony to have access to another space. We're going to see. So remember, so you can see in terms of different kinds of things under security. So this one is under administration, under the Atlassian administration kind of space. So we have some new features that have come in here. You can see them there. And then you can set up some policies on how users need to authenticate to access the system. Maybe they are only using passwords and they have a lot of access. You can decide that they need to do that. So for example, for me to be able to do this, I need to verify a domain. But let me just get to the other part. Let me just go back. Anything maybe, Suraj, you want to add on this space, on this area?
No, okay, for now.
Okay. So you can see I have this MeruConf demo. I can switch to another. I have another site called Kevin Tui, but I don't want to switch to that. So let's go back to Confluence. So remember, you can also own more than one site, depending on what you want to achieve. So remember that you as the Confluence administrator, you might be having a personal site and a work site. So you can also help you organize something. So let's see, Tochi said he created a page. Let me see whether he created it. Let me switch to that space. So you usually have a personal space, and you can also have your team spaces. So remember, as we said earlier in the presentation, you might be having different departments. So you can switch between departments here, or you may be having only access to only your own department, depending on how your Confluence administrator has set it up. So let's get on to the project management space. So we had Sony coming through. So maybe I can now that the management decided that Sony becomes part of the team to build the internal AI chatbot, maybe become part of the PMO, the project management office. So let's add her to the team. So I think, I don't know that I invited, did you join the space or they did? I think Sony hasn't joined this space. So Suraj is asking a question here. As admin, how do I create different groups? How do I create different groups for each space? So that's a very interesting kind of a question. So let's try to see how we can do that. How do you create? So I'll just switch from that place. Let's see. So I remember that how we ever did it for a certain organization. We created a group, and then we decided that for for that space, for example, I don't know whether you're talking about as a Confluence admin, you have also the ability to decide, because I'm trying to understand your question. You need to give people access to specific spaces. For example, let's say it's the finance space, and I believe groups help in terms of the moment you add somebody to that group, if it's the finance group, they also automatically have access to the finance space. I don't know whether that's the case or how, so that I can understand the context to your question, or is it about permissions? Suraj, I don't know. Can you hear me? Or did you get my question?
Yes, Kevin. Yeah, please
Yes.
tell me.
So you are asking how do you create different groups for each space? So I wanted to get an understanding. Is it that you create a group so that when you add users to that group, they immediately have access to that space? Or
Yes. Suppose as admin, we will be dealing with multiple spaces. Okay. So
yes.
suppose I would like to give access to one user for a particular space, then it should be that we need to add that group. We need to add that user in that particular space group. So I'm just worrying how we create groups for each space.
Mhm. Yeah, so that it makes it easy for you to basically put
Yeah.
users into that group, and they
Yeah.
have access to the space rather than trying to add members manually to each and every kind of a space.
Because this is the admin question. Means mostly we will be dealing when we will be dealing with the groups when we are doing the admin
Mhm.
part. But as a user,
Mhm. Mhm.
we may have one or two spaces, so nothing to do with the groups.
Yes. Because an admin is the one who has access to managing the
Yeah. Correct.
managing the groups as well as the spaces. So let me get out of that, and then I'll answer you just in a bit.
Yeah,
So
sure.
okay, I'll answer you that in a bit. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. I wanted to add touch, I mean Sony, but I think I couldn't. Let me see if I can now. Still can't, but let me close that first. So let's look at what touch. I don't know. I think there wasn't something under project plan, so it must be something that Touch has created under the project plan. Let's see. Or maybe Touch, you can tell us which page you created to make our work easier. Let's see, because I think
I actually thought you saw that before. It's under the project plan. You know, the one you
yeah.
were working on. I
Okay.
created a page. I
But you
called
created another page under it, right?
a page there. I called it Touches Updates.
Yeah. I can now
And,
see it's
and I
under the
actually
project
tagged
plan.
you. I thought maybe you get a notification that you were mentioned somewhere.
Yes. For example, I don't know whether it happens on my email. I'll open my email on another page first so that I don't post so many things. Yeah, I can see you tagged me. I'll try to see on my email if I received an email regarding that. And that's the good thing about collaboration. For example, you get notification immediately. Something is happening on yeah, thank you. I can see this is your first page, and you can see I can already see it is owned by you. You did it 12 minutes ago, and it's under this space. So and you can see you tagged it as a draft, very clear. And there are many other things I can decide to edit. I can decide to say I don't know, think not everything has loaded on my end. I think I have to do a comment or something. So let us have this. Let's see. Oh, it's loading. Any questions so far? But I don't know why it's loading like forever. Can't see. Don't know, I think maybe my network has gone down a bit. Also having space issues. It's loaded finally. Don't know why. I think I'm having very low space on my laptop. I need to work on that after the session. But here we are. So let's say I can say, thank you. I have seen it, Rochi. These are just examples of us trying to see. Needed to tag you. So the moment I comment, you'll see by default it ticks that I'll watch the page. That means is anything that will be happening or be different, I'll be able to see all those changes. But sometimes you need to be very careful because you might watch a page that has several number of users from the organization, and you might receive lots and lots of notifications on the updates. So you might also need to configure how you receive notifications. I'm having a bit of a jam somewhere. So let's see. It's loading. Finally, it's finally loaded. Let me confirm the network that I'm using. Maybe using a network that is a bit for. Yeah, that's where the issue is. I've seen where my issue is. So it's loading. A node. Yeah, I think the network should work now better. Kindly confirm that you can hear me. Switch to another network.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. So let's see if I can refresh this. Just reload that. Well, it's going to be a bit faster. I can see it loaded and they decided to refresh it. But let me save and see if I can. Okay. Couldn't save. Oh, I think it's because I refreshed. Let me just refresh it again. So it's loading. So you can see you can do a lot. You can do a lot with this. Just close. Those are the tabs. So I open, let me see if I can open this. And also open this. And now my network is acting up, but I think there's a lot of latency. Yeah, so let it finish loading. So let me also share this with you. Let's see, it's loading. It's loaded. So okay. Let's see. So I wanted to share with you these Confluence Essentials. I don't know if it's Confluence Essentials or Confluence usually provided by Atlassian University. But I don't know why things are not loading on my end. I don't know if I'm under a VPN or something. Even my email that I loaded a long time ago was not loaded. And my provider has decided to go on me after a very nice session. So as we wait on this, I first of all want to thank you for taking your time to come and understand and learn together on what you can do with Confluence. Remember, it's something that it's all about. It's all about. It's all about the people. Technology is built for people, and it's not that people are built for the technology. So what that means is before you get excited and try to say you want to use Confluence in an organization, you need to get buy-in. And as a way of getting buy-in is you can use it in your personal space, organize your work, bring in and pilot it within maybe your own section, a part of the department, make people use them maybe as part of organizing their own individual work, and then they can come in as a team. So helping people understand the whole kind of ecosystem. And it is going to see, for example, when you're driving in value as a department or as a section, it's some people come and ask, how are you able to do it? How are you doing it? So that is one way you can say. And maybe I don't know if I'm audible. Yeah, and maybe Suraj, you can also add something if you want in terms of how can organizations build, how can users build buy-in for the organizations for using Confluence. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
you're audible.
Yeah. Suraj, I don't know whether you had my question. How do organizations build buy-in? I mean, how do customers build buy-in for the organization?
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Can hear you.
Yeah. Hi, Kevin. It looks like your voice is breaking in middle.
Sorry.
Can you please repeat your question once again?
Yes, I was asking like your organization uses Confluence. I can say
Yes.
maybe at scale, you've been using Confluence Server and you're now migrating to Confluence Cloud. How do individuals build buy-in in terms of usage of Confluence or even any Atlassian product in the organization, or maybe even as a founder for a startup like Nehemiah? How does he convince himself that this, or even the whole team, that this is the technology? Because people are not built for the technology, it is the technology that is built for the people. So how do you gain buy-in for you?
Yes. Yeah, Kevin. So for this one, means as I have already said that we are using the Atlassian, so couple of applications we are already using, that is the Jira and the Confluence. So already we have multiple projects running on the Jira. So to store the information and knowledge regarding that particular project, already we are getting a request for the Confluence request along with the Jira. So it is very easy for users as well to complete the Jira project with this Confluence information. So this is the way usually we are dealing, means usually we are working in our organization. Hello, can you hear me, Kevin?
Yes, yes, sorry, I was muted. I was acknowledging you while I was muted. Yes, as you said, it is the key takeaway from what you said is that it helps teams manage their projects in a seamless kind of a way. So that is the biggest buy-in, such that, and also there is a lot of organizations that you can get use cases from, and say like this organization X that I met with Suraj in in this ACE event. They're using it. They're using it for this and this and that. For example, this organization, this local organization, this startup is doing it for this. And as Suraj has mentioned, Jira, especially Jira for Jira projects and also Jira software in general, is usually the core of Atlassian. So usually see all these other products, they support Jira. So what that tells you is that you can do a lot more in running, especially your different kinds of projects. It doesn't have to be technology projects. It can be even a construction project. It can be like a standardization or a certification project. You have to maybe get ISO certified and you want to manage that whole kind of a project, all those kind of things. So you can see you can do a lot with that. And there's something that you asked, although my space has, okay, I think it has not started trying to load. So as I don't know if you haven't joined the Atlassian community, that is where you can see it. We have around 4.6 million community members, over 4,747 community events that have been organized so far, and different community groups, as you can see. So you can see somebody is already asking a question here about, okay, I think this one is part of my community, just a community field. It's not a question, or maybe just a question is how to enhance Jira board of backlog, meetups, end of sale report. There's also a very huge event called Team 23 that usually organized by Atlassian every year. It's usually available both on site and on through online. So usually this is a very good place to join in, and usually they call meeting with other members. So please do join that. And then on Atlassian University, it's not really a university as you know it. It's just a name they will pull it for skilling. Is you can have some free training, and you can see some of these free learning paths from Jira, Confluence, Trello, JSM. Although today's session was all about Confluence, we may look at another day when you can do Jira and Trello. And also getting to understand what is the difference between Jira and Jira Service Management. So you can get this Confluence fundamentals. I'll still also make sure I share these links on my on the event page. So you can get to open this learning path and get to understand a lot. Even Atlassian has certifications around these products. And the moment you are able to validate your skills, you become sought after. You become sought after in terms of what you can do. So it's just that my network is acting up. I'll ask maybe maybe I can also ask if we can also share our LinkedIn pages so we can follow each other, and then you can also pick up the conversation, especially with you, Suraj, especially on the question that you asked. I understand that under the space settings, you can create a group. You can create a group under that. So remember that you can try and stress it out even using this space that we just created and see. So please, thank you, Tochi, for that. I'm also sharing mine. Let's also share with let us follow each other on LinkedIn and see what we can do on that space. So please do share that because we are coming to the end and I don't want to keep you so long. It was to be from 9:45 to, we only have 2 minutes to go. So let me see if I got a notification on my email. Yes, I did get an email. So let me just show you a bit of that. So you can see when Tochi mentioned me, you can see Tochi mentioned you on Tochi's update. I got this. Although it went under my promotion, I don't know why, but I did get that notification. So it goes directly to your email and you're able to act immediately when you're needed. So that is also something that you can do. So if you're also not on LinkedIn, you can also please follow also our ACE page for more events, upcoming events. We'll be having especially one event every month on different products, and it doesn't have to be also me. I'll be inviting others, and even most probably I'll be inviting Suraj to tell us about Jira and the Jira. Yes.
Your LinkedIn,
yes.
the link. Can you check your LinkedIn link?
Okay. Sorry. I think I didn't put the in. Sorry. Thank you, Tochi, for that. linkedin.com/in/Kevin2A. I also please for you as Tochi, thank you for putting it to be clickable. It wasn't clickable at first. I'm also clicking on that and following you up.
Yes, I noticed. That's why I
yes. So just to make it a good wrap up, as always, it's very important to appreciate all of you for what you've for taking your time to learn about Confluence. I know some, for example, like Suraj, you already had a lot of it. You already have a lot of experience in this. And just to mention is there's a lot of events at ace.atlassian.com. So you can check other chapters, different chapters of organizing different kinds of events. You might want to learn more about Atlassian University. It's all about that. You might want to learn about Atlassian certifications. You might want to learn about Trello, Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket. If you're a developer, you might need to also think about CI/CD and all these kind of technologies. All of that is available both online on the community page, as well as also available through the ACE events, Atlassian community events. Thank you, Nehemiah, for also sharing your LinkedIn. Please also let's all follow each other. I think Suraj also be, so I don't know whether you're on LinkedIn or you don't want to share, but it's okay. I really appreciate your time. So unless yes, you're sharing. Okay, good. So unless there's anything, I'd first of all like to thank you so much for taking your time. I decided to stop my video with Salome. I don't know whether you posted yours also. It's important to connect with each other and see our interest and what. Good. Thank you. I can see yours. I'm going to follow all of you. I've already clicked, although my I don't know what happened to my network. It's working well on Zoom, but it's not loading anything on Chrome. And maybe it's because of space issues, but it's fine. I'll sort that out. So with that, you're already 2 minutes past time. Thank you for your time. And I really appreciate you taking your time to do this. And see you on our next session. Unless there's anything that anyone would want to share or add before you close the session, I'd like to appreciate you for your time. Anyone? Nehemiah, Salome, Suraj, if there's anyone?
Yes, hi Kevin. I would say that it was a really nice session and thanks for sharing the information. And also it was really nice to talk with you. Thanks for your time as well.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And this is the start of so many interactions. So please, let's follow each other. Let's interact and also share in terms of what we can be able to do with the Atlassian tools and even build on the best practices. I believe there's a lot you can't exhaust the knowledge that there is in terms of these Atlassian products. Yeah. So thank you, Tochi, also, and Salome for also taking part in terms of the interaction. We're still going to use the same space to do more things. So don't walk out of that. I'll share more knowledge. I'll put I also have another friend of mine. We're going to co-host an event. He's from Pakistan. He's called Amar, and he has done a lot on Jira. So I'm going to invite him to talk to you about Jira and how it's done a lot. There's a time he invited me onto his Jira project and his Confluence space, and he's done a lot of crazy documentations. And I can't wait to have him in a co-hosted kind of an Atlassian event. So nice time, and see you. Have a lovely rest of your Saturday, for whichever your time zone is. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, and do have a nice time. Thank you.